Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of May 30, Thursday. I'm Riza Diaz. Starting off today's rush with the continuation of President Duterte's working visit in Japan. We have with us live Jem Avancenia from Tokyo to give us some updates. Jem, what's the latest?
Riza, Wednesday is a productive day for President Duterte and his 16-man delegation here in Tokyo. This amid remarks that the team he brought here was just here for leisure. But it seems like they are really busy and their meeting with some Japanese top leaders and companies did bear fruit. President Duterte led his group in a business conference at the Imperial Hotel here in Tokyo. He was the guest of honor of the event attended by Filipino and Japanese businessmen. There were 26 agreements signed during the forum that are expected to bring more than 280 billion worth of investments in the Philippines and generate more than 82,700 jobs. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez confirmed that out of the 26 agreements, 7 are deals with businesses or business-related entities, while 19 are letters of intent between Filipino and Japanese companies. Meanwhile, in his speech, the president reiterated his commitment to protect foreign investors, particularly those from Japan. He says he is ready to address their complaints, particularly if it is about corruption or illegal activities committed by government agencies.
And every Japanese investor in my country, however small or however big, I can assure you that if there is any complaint regarding hindrances, obstruction, or outright corruption, let me know.
Meanwhile, Duterte also issued a statement condemning the mass stabbing incident in Kawasaki earlier this week that killed a child and injured at least 15 other people. Duterte says he is outraged over the brutal attack. He adds that the Philippines stands by the Japanese government in bringing justice to the victims of the incident. Riza, President Duterte is set to meet the Filipino community here in Japan today and tomorrow. He will deliver a keynote address at the Nikkei Forum, and he is also set to meet with Japanese Japanese Prime Minister Abe Shinzo. Riza?
Thank you. That was Jem Avancenia reporting live from Tokyo. Now, while his pabuya comment on the presidential trip to Japan has come to the attention of several officials, Ambassador Laurel remains unfazed. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez explained that the cabinet members are present for trade missions and clarified that each department should or shouldered their own expenses. Meanwhile, incoming Manila Mayor Isko Moreno says he was invited by the chief executive and was also a paying guest. President Duterte's common law wife even clarified that she was there to represent the business sector and not the government. With all the unwanted attention, presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo still refused to answer if the president plans to replace the envoy for his remarks. However, the ambassador seems to be unaffected by the issue.
I have not heard what they said. Binibiro nga ako. O hindi binibiro ko rin sila.
Basta sabi naman na kanya, hindi naman daw ito pabuya yung Japan trip ng mga cabinet officials.
Kung anong gusto mo sabihin ang akin, hindi naman talaga.
Meanwhile, here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Philippine Star reports that the Bureau of Customs and the PIDEA have allowed the auction of 1 billion pesos worth of shabu. Last week, PIDEA announced that it discovered some 146 kilos of shabu at a warehouse in Malabon, allegedly from Cambodia. Authorities claim that this batch is linked to billions worth of shabu earlier seized in Cavite. Now, the two agencies then decided to have the batch auctioned in hopes of smoking out possible members of drug syndicates connected to the shipment. Senator Ping Lacson, however, is skeptical of the move, adding that the law prohibits illegal goods from being disposed by public auction. A backpack caused a bit of a panic at Talisay, Cebu earlier this week. Banat reports that works was suspended at the Talisay City Hall after a bag suspected of containing explosives was left in the building. workers were told to evacuate the building while investigations continued. Now, the City Hall was eventually cleared afterwards and no explosives were found. Still in Cebu, over 1,000 pieces of maling have been removed from shelves of 4 supermarkets as a precaution against the spread of the African swine fever. A report by the Freeman states that the city's veterinary department urged store owners to have the luncheon meat brand removed from their product list for the meantime. They say that these came from countries suspected to have penetrated by the virus. This includes Vietnam, China, and several European countries. A consumer group warns that we may soon have to pay more for pork products. That's on the back of the recall of the imported pork goods. But the government says there's nothing to worry about. Shaila Francisco will tell us more.
Sandy has become more conscious in buying pork from wet markets. This comes after the Food and Drug Administration ordered the recall of pork products imported from 16 countries affected by the African swine fever.
Tinatanong ko kung ito ba yung kasama ba ito sa mga in-import. Tinatanong ko rin kung saan galing. Mas mabuti nang maging sigurado tayo.
Lilia, meanwhile, has decided to buy local pork for the meantime after she found out about the order.
Kaya wala palang maling. Kaya yun ang purpose ko na sana na bibili. Mamimili ako dahil wala akong paninda. Ang bibenta ko yung mga local product lang. Huwag muna yung imported foods.
The stakeholders assure the public that local supply is stable despite the pull-out of some imported goods in the market. With an estimated 4 to 5 months of buffer stock, the local supply can also still fill the expected loss in case President Duterte approves the appeal for a 2-month suspension of importation in high-risk countries or those near the affected areas.
Meron pong 2 months sa domestic plus yung mga nasa cold storage ng mga imported. So more or less, nasa 4 to 5 months. Yun yung buffer stock natin. Kaya yung hinihingi natin na 2 months siguro, fair enough na siguro for us and the importers kung mapagbibigyan tayo.
Still, a consumer group warns some could use the situation as an excuse to jack up prices.
There will be those na may aspect na nagsasamantala. So yun ang dapat bantayan. Sa DTI naman, at saka Department of Agriculture, mag-monitor po tayo ng presyo. Makita po natin kung tumataas at meron na namang nakikinabang dito sa takot at issue na ito. Maaaring magkaroon ng, dahil yung tinatawag natin, fear factor na baka mawalan supply, etc. Magkaroon ng siguro mag-jerk up yan na another 5 pesos o 10 pesos a kilo.
Both the Agriculture and Trade Departments say they will intensify their monitoring to ensure stable prices.
That's something that we really have to look out also, this speculation.
Meron pong nakatakdang SRP, lalo na po ang ating locally manufactured goods. Palagi po namin kinukulang attention pag nakita namin. Kaya po ang aming visibility sa pamamagitan ng aming field monitors ay talaga pong lalo namin pinaiigting.
Shaila Francisco, VR1 News.
Here are some of the day's biggest stories. Social media platforms Facebook and Google will face a House probe in connection with the Ang Totoong Narco List videos. This was initiated by Ako Bicol Party List Representatives Alfredo Garbin Jr., Christopher Co., and Ronald Ang. Their resolution called for an inquiry from the Committee on Information and Communications Technology about the Bicoy videos which linked President Duterte's family and friends to the illegal drug trade. Now, because of the possible damage of the reputation to these people, Garbin told the Philippine Star that a takedown clause may be included in the law governing social media content. Now, over at the Senate, Senator Dick Gordon confirmed that Senator Grace Poe talked to him about trading positions in the Senate committee. Gordon is currently the Blue Ribbon Committee chairman, while Poe leads the Committee on Public Services. However, Gordon admits he will not relinquish his current committee since he still has a lot more to investigate. There are also rumors about another incoming senator hoping to take over the Justice Committee, which Gordon also leads. But the veteran lawmaker remained firm and invoked his right as an incumbent senator. And speaking of Grace Poe, or Senator Grace Poe, the re-electionist says she's ready to ally with the minority bloc if current Senator Senate President Tito Soto does so too. That's if, according to her, Soto gets replaced as Senate President. However, Poe clarifies that this doesn't mean that the numbers would automatically favor the opposition.
Kung lilipat si Senator Soto sa minority, sasama na lang ako.
Now, despite the delay in the budget passage, international agencies say the Philippine government's infrastructure programs is still in a good position. Bim Santos has the story.
Though the government's Build, Build, Build initiative hit a snag with a reenacted budget, an officer from debt watchdog Moody's credited the administration for the level of government spending thus far. The Budget Department has reported that infrastructure spending as of end February hit 118.4 billion, up 26.3% year-on-year. At a forum by the Economic Journalists Association of the Philippines, experts said the current infrastructure push is faring better than the previous administration.
I could probably say with reasonable certainty that that the infrastructure push is more concerted and better executed than in previous years.
Credit raters are actually looking at how we are getting our act together. But what needs to be done now is just to really take responsibility and catch up.
Moody's, however, echoed the sentiment of the economic team that pushing for constitutional reform may wreak havoc on the infrastructure drive in particular and the economy in general.
Just to echo some of the economic cabinet officials, it's not my idea, but just to perhaps echo with what some of them have said about what doesn't need to happen for the infrastructure development program to go, and that's really constitutional reform.
Moody's also notes the need to prop up revenue generation for the government and to push for more liberalization in capital importation to prevent potential bottlenecks. The National Economic Development Authority says they are now working to address this even without legislation.
We are aware of the imminent danger of reaching this capacity constraints, and that's really why we're working hard with Congress in order to address this.
Bim Santos, We Are One News.
More talk on economic growth and how this will impact the businesses and lives in the next decade are in this year's Business World Economic Forum. This year's theme will be the future of business and the next wave of disruptions and opportunities that come with it. This forum, taking place later today at 9 in the morning at the Grand Hyatt Manila in Taguig, will gather business leaders, policy makers in the government, those in the academics, and other stakeholders to talk about the impact of the next generation technology and how it will affect business trends and the economy. Now, the keynote speaker for this year is Ayala Corporation CEO Jaime Zubel Ayala. Now, catch the One News coverage later today on Business World. That's live with Jess De Los Santos and Danny Laurel. Let's fast break now to Sports Rush. Stanley Pringle and Robert Bolick made sure that the Batang pair kept their winning streak in a battle between another undefeated squad, the TNT Katropa. Pringle sat out his first two games to recover from an injury and bounce back better than ever. He led Northport to their third straight win on Wednesday, 110-86, with 22 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. But his new backcourt tandem, Bolick, was not to be outdone. Bolick seemed to be inspired with Pringle's return as he scored only 1 point less than Pringle to claim the victory. Meanwhile, the Alaska Aces put an end to their two-game skid, sending the NLEX Road Warriors to their third consecutive straight loss at 100-87. The Aces built the big lead in the second period, but the Road Warriors rallied and took the lead until the third. Alaska then responded with a 20-4 streak, stealing their win until the end of the game. Jeron Teng led the pack with 20 points on top of 15 rebounds and 4 assists. Now with this, the Aces spoiled the PBA return of import Tony Mitchell. Now, with less than 2 months away from their scheduled clash, Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman showcased their moves on Twitter. The undefeated Thurman kicked things off with a Twitter video showing some of his best moves. And not even 3 hours later, Senator Manny Pacquiao replied by demonstrating his speed and footwork as well as an explosive left. Pacquiao wants to prove that he can still fight at 40, while Thurman looks to end the 8th Division World Champion's career on July 20 in Las Vegas.
Malaking challenge ito sa akin bilang 40 years old na active at 30 years old yung kalaban ko. Then we have to prove something na kaya pa natin. Kaya ako motivated because gusto kong ibalik sa kanya, ipakain sa kanya yung mga sinasabi niya.
And that's how today is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.